Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, however you're watching, wherever you're watching, however you're listening, wherever you're listening. It's the Bet Online Salute Detroit podcast, and we have another big one here for you today. It's like the national championship team reunion. This time, we have the actual quarterback. We had Lofa on Tuesday. Today, we have the quarterback, Matt Leinart. Matt, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, man. The Trojans running thick over there. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Yep. So, Matt, we just want to kick things off. First, I got a question for you before I ask my question. Like I told Lofa, I just want to thank you, man. I was there from 2006 to 2008, and you guys set that
Oh yeah.
foundation for us. And I really appreciate everything. All the stories I heard about you guys are great, and I just never got a chance to show my appreciation to you guys. And thank you for setting the foundation for us and everybody who came behind us.
Well, I appreciate that, man. And Lofa's my boy. Lofa was just a tremendous leader for us, and kind of like you, like for us, the guys before us, and I always tell everybody, as you know, the USC family is as strong as they come, and those years were great. That was a freaking awesome time, man, to be at USC, to be a Trojan, and I love, obviously my boys, and hopefully we can kind of get back to that, because there's nothing better, man, than when USC's on top, as you know. And but I appreciate that. It was always one of those things you always kind of, at USC kind of play before the guys before that came before you. So I appreciate you saying that, and love being a Trojan, man.
Definitely. So my question is, Matt, I've always wanted to ask this question. Out of all the greatest games in the Coliseum, I was getting recruited that year, my senior year of high school. That Fresno State game, where does that rank on your all-time games, man?
I'll tell you what, probably sneaky, like the best game we had. Like it was crazy. And the funny, I always tell everybody, so obviously we won the title against Oklahoma, and nothing will, compare to that when you win a national title. And we had the Rose Bowl and the Bush Push game at Notre Dame, which obviously is, the moments in that game were incredible. But Fresno State was interesting because I remember that was my senior year, and I remember Pete, we looked at the schedule, and Pete Carroll was like, Matt, the one game that makes me nervous was Fresno State. And wow. I was like, yeah. I was like, why? I was like, well, because at that time, Pat Hill was the coach, and he was great. They were they had a lot of guys, they were, some guys that maybe couldn't get into other schools would go to, like, he had it rolling there. Like, they had real players. They had NFL dudes, and they weren't afraid to play anybody. They were playing big time schools, and they were beating schools. So like, and it was in November, it was toward the end of the year. And like, we obviously fortunately were undefeated, but like, back then you lose one game, that was a BCS, you're out of the BCS. So like, there was a lot at stake, and again, you don't want to overlook a team like that. Fresno State, they were dogs, and we were in a fight until the very end. And obviously that's the game that Reggie solidified the Heisman, went off for like over 500 all-purpose yards. Our defense struggled that game. I think we gave up 42 or something like that, but it ranks right up there, man. The Coliseum was rocking that night, I remember. And that was a hell of a game, man. Fresno State was really good. They were tough as hell. They were a really tough team.
Matt, that's so great to hear. I as you were speaking, I recall, Pat Hill used to have that slogan, anybody, anywhere, anytime. And,
hell yeah, yeah.
50 to 42 kind of classic. Matt, I was at SC from 02 to 06. So right there. And you were my guy. So just, it's kind of surreal to be able to interview you now after all these years. But, I just wanted to let you know that you were always my guy, and, one of the true goats of USC football. So, just thank you for everything you've done for the program. Matt, my question is, what are two things that maybe you like about the program today, and things that you're really excited about? One or two things you're really excited about today, and then maybe one or two things that you think needs to get better for USC to kind of get back to its glory years?
Well, no, that's a good question. I think first of all, like any program, it starts from the top, and I really love Jen Cohen, our administration. She's a new AD. She's been there for over a year now, but she's fantastic. I've gotten to know her really well, and she's a beast, man. Like she gets it. She loves it. She's a big sports, person. So I love the leadership, that we have. And then, I'm a big fan of Lincoln. I think he's great. So I think the good stuff is that we're in a place where, we have some stability, and you need stability to build a program and to build a championship program. The NIL piece, obviously, which we all know is a big part of college athletics now, that is coming into play now and kind of coming together better this year than it was just a year ago, so those things kind of outside of the team are really coming into place for us as a football team to start to build. So I like that. And then, I love some of the, sometimes you got to make tough decisions. I think Lincoln made some great hires on the defensive side to really kind of turn around that side, because we know that's been our Achilles heel the last couple of years. So I think they'll get better. We're recruiting really well. I'm excited for Miller Moss and his opportunity. I've known Miller since he was going to my football camp since he was like 5 or 6 years old. So I've known Miller. So there's a lot to be excited about going to the Big Ten, I think, which is, bittersweet, as we know, like the Pac-12 was great, and it kind of just this is a new era of college football. But excited about what the Big Ten can bring and the exposure brings to USC, and for USC to experience, Michigan, Ohio State, some of those big time programs. I think that's going to be just great for the school. And then, I think for some of the things you need to work on, I think, when you do get to the Big Ten, it's a different style of play, so I think we do have to figure out how to build a team, and you build from up front, up in the trenches on both sides of the ball. I think that's a little bit where we've been lacking the last couple of years. And there's some good players, but like collectively, if you're in the Big Ten or the SEC, those teams win with good offensive lines and good defensive lines. And so I think that's a point of emphasis to build. And then, the schedule stuff, man, and the expectation. So, but I think a lot of good is happening around the football program. I mean, look at women's basketball, sports. I mean, USC, it feels like USC of old. We're like, we got a lot of stars, got a lot of stars on campus, and the star power and the allure of USC, like I feel it coming back a little bit, and now we just got to go out and take care of business on the field.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. I think a lot of excitement around the program. Matt, we'll get you kind of out of here on this. I love how involved you always are, obviously not just with USC, but so involved just in college football, obviously broadcasting, so involved in the city of Los Angeles still, and what your work there. And I know you're doing some work with Panini and, the NFL rookie premiere going on this week in LA. So
Yep.
Can you just talk a little bit about kind of the work you're doing and being an ambassador for these student athletes making that jump from college to pros now?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, I love Panini. I'm a card collector. So I collected, I collected when I was young, took time off, just, you go to school, college, whatever. And then I got back into it kind of right after COVID. I think it's kind of when it really started taking off again, just this business. And I've gotten really close with Panini and the people there. I love what they stand for and what they're doing for these athletes. And as you said, I'm at the NFLPA rookie premiere, and I remember I was a part of it too in '06. And I was just with, Penix is here, and McCarthy, and Caleb is literally walking by me as we speak right now. So like everybody is out here. we're in a hotel doing this, and all the guys are just doing their thing. So, pretty cool. So, Panini does a great job with the NFL trading cards and those products. And, as I said, I'm a collector, so I just love my relationship with Panini, and what they do. So, I'm here. We just had some fun with some of their customers and distributors. Me and Keyshawn were here, and we're just kind of hanging out, man. So, this is a big week. This is a big week for Panini, but also a big week for these draft picks that just got drafted. They're seeing their trading cards for the first time, and they're signing them. And like, it's just a really cool experience. I mean, I remember it, almost 20 years ago. So there's no doubt these guys will remember this in 20 years.
Yeah, love it. So, Matt, really appreciate the time. I got to say real quick, I would hate if I didn't say this. When I was in college, I worked at a small Italian restaurant in Sunset Beach called Roman Cucina. Your parents used to come in probably
Yep.
twice a month, and you came in a few times. We're always really gracious. So it's surreal for me now that you're on our show here. So we appreciate the time.
Well, so I appreciate you saying that. So my mother passed away in 2017, and her favorite restaurant was Roman Cucina, and so we used to go there all the time. So we just went back to the same one right there in January, a couple months ago for my dad's birthday. And, obviously that was kind of a tough thing for him to do for years. But we just were back there, man. So I appreciate you saying that. We love the restaurant. I think my brother was tight with some of the owners back in the day. You probably would know better. I think they were brothers or something, but yeah, we love it. So I appreciate you saying that. And, it's always a good meal and a good time there.
Love it. Yeah. Yeah. We have a signed USC helmet from you in the rafters there still that I haven't worked there in years, obviously, but awesome, man. Well, hey, really appreciate the time. We also I got to give a shout out from Candace Davis Price, one of our co-hosts. She's a huge, friend of yours. I'm sure you remember her. So she couldn't be here, but shout out from her, but keep up the great work, man. And we certainly appreciate it, and we'll hopefully stay in touch.
Awesome, man. Thank you guys for having me on.
Yeah, good deal. Thanks, Matt.